Oh, dang, I just gave this whole webinar and I thought I was live, but I wasn't, so I forgot to hit the button, so that's my bad. So I'm gonna give this, I just gave this webinar and I have to give it again, but it's good. So thank you so much for joining. I apologize for being ultra late. I thought I started this webinar and then I didn't, and then I gave the whole webinar and it broadcasting, so that's my fault. But um, and I can't figure out how to get Evernote to show me my window. Um, give me 1 second while I find this thing. This thing is not working right. Oh, because it's way down here. Okay, so quick intro, right? I, I know um, the economy is messed up right now, right? I know that you may want to go in your turtle mode. Now is really the time that you have to you know, you do have to cut your expenses and you do have to figure out what you're doing, but you also have to plan to be successful. You got to plan to be here. If you don't plan to be here, you're not going to be here, right? And if you're not more proactive and more aggressive than you were in the past, like it's not going to happen the same way for you that it did a year ago, right? Um, so that's really what I've been doing. I've been working my ass off 7 days a week, 14 hours a day, just trying to figure out how do I elevate my game in a market that's going to be harder to compete in, right? Um, now, I've been working on various little things. I've been doing a couple of marketing projects for the industry, and then also working on my own things. So this is one of my own things, but I wanted to share it with everybody. Um, and before I do that, I want to thank everybody who donated to this webinar because they didn't have to, right? It was free, and if you join for free, that's cool too. But I wanted to shout out the people that did donate. So thank you to Marshall, Tyler, Kyle, Steven, Tassilo, Adrian, and Bob. I do really appreciate you guys donating. And yeah, thank you. So I got a couple little projects that I want to talk about before I jump into the actual demo or the walkthrough for this. Uh, the first is I got a project for a marketing co-op subscription. So a co-op, if you're not familiar with that concept, is I'm going to change it over to this web page. A co-op is when you pool your money together with other people to get a combined benefit, right? So I was working on this workflow document and I realized that a lot of the marketing activities I wanted to do could be combined with other people, right? So I was like, oh, okay, I need to develop a marketing calendar for my company, and maybe we'll do a summer program. Maybe it's for summer camps. So we'll have a marketing thing for that. Maybe we'll have something for back to school. Maybe we'll have something for a Christmas special, right? Now I can go and pay a designer myself, 500 bucks and to do the copy and do the art. But really anybody across the country can use that also. So if we pool our money together for 30 bucks a month, we basically can share all of the costs for that. And then for $30, you're getting 125, 150, $500 worth of work, just depending on how many people are in the co-op. So I threw that product up there. I haven't pushed it that hard yet, but if you're interested in that, hit my website. The link is in the chat for that. Also helping contract printers market their services to promotional products brokers. So if you're a contract printer, you need to market your services. You're looking to get ahead of people because there are going to be unfortunately, there are going to be some companies that don't make it, and those brokers are going to need printers. Get in contact with me. One other thing that you should look at too, if you're looking to step your marketing game up right now, is Sloan Coleman from Tiny Little Monster. She has a free program to help you sell. Um, she has a free program to help you sell the um, online store products to the people in your community, in your industry, so they can give you a design. You can put it up on the online store. She'll give you all the templates, the logo, everything, email templates, and help you out with that. So get in contact with Sloan if you want to do, what's it called? Here for Good. I think it's super dope. I'm gonna try and do one in my community as well. So we'll jump into what you guys actually came here for, which is the sales and marketing workflow. And I'll go through the high level steps first before I go through the detailed boxes and how they work. So, you know, phase number one is strategy, right? Everything starts with strategy, and strategy goes from the top down. Um, so strategy is sort of like who you are, why you're uniquely suited to solve a problem, and who you solve the problem for, right? Um, then you take that, you put it into your marketing materials, right? So phase two. If you don't have a strategy, it's going to be very hard to articulate what you want to do in marketing, or like what your marketing copy is if you don't have a strategy, right? So then ideally your customers, or your ideal customers, see your marketing efforts and then come into your customer response flows, or you can call them like customer engagement. Then once they engage with you, you really have the opportunity to sell to them, right? Once they indicate interest, and then ideally you close the deal and send them through production management, and then back into a marketing flow again, right? The whole like making the sale up here from your initial marketing efforts. This is the most expensive thing you can do, right? This is like the marketing acquisition cost, customer acquisition cost that you're going to expend up here is going to be much, much exponentially higher than your cost to market to an existing customer, and your conversion rates will be much higher marketing to existing customers. And what you want to do is you want to get them to place a new order and send them back to the workflow. So make sure that you're marketing to existing customers just as much as you're marketing to new customers, if not more. Now, we'll go through all the boxes, and I'll give you a high level explanation of what they mean and how I use them. Each box is essentially like a discrete task or action. So that task then has a set of processes and someone on the team that's assigned to those tasks, right? So strategy, a little bit, strategy is also assigned to somebody, but at a little bit higher level. So the three things you need on your strategy, strategic outlook, are really who is your target market, like who are you talking to, right? Why are you talking to them? What niches do you serve? You don't want to be everything for everybody. A lot of people have talked about that lately, and uh, I think it's true, right? If you talk to someone directly, you say, "Okay, my name is Mike. I do great work for construction companies. We've done work for these kinds of construction companies, and this is how we serve the construction market," which kind of goes into key value props. But if you focus on one single market, you can make your marketing approach much more crisp, right? So don't try and be everything to everybody. Try and really uh, be specific about who you're talking to in your markets and identify those markets. Uh, Key value props. Why are you uniquely suited to address the problems of your target market? Right. So if I'm a construction guy, maybe I've been doing construction printing and decorated apparel for construction people for the last 20 years. Um, I know exactly what type of garments that you want. I know, where to get the safety vest, et cetera, et cetera. There's a zillion things you can put on your key value props. Maybe we're faster than everybody else. Maybe we'll deliver it for free. Put those under your KVPs. Then you have core values, right? Like who are you as a person? Who are you as a company, right? A lot of times the company owner or owners, their ideologies filter down into the company, um, and their values are the company values, right? They tend to be one-to-one. Um, Make sure that you can articulate that as well, right? And some companies that do that really well. One of them that jumps to mind is just Allmade. I think they do a really good job of articulating, their brand story and what their values are, and it's very clear who the product is for, right? So, like in articulating the values, they've also articulated who the target market is. Now, you take these three things and you put them into your marketing efforts, right? Um, so you have a whole bunch of boxes here. I'm not going to dive into every single box and what we're doing with every single box, but the way that I'm approaching marketing, so like for example, I can make a Facebook ad myself. but A, I'm not the best person to make the Facebook ad, and B, I don't necessarily have enough time to make all the Facebook ads I want. So what I'll do is I'll assign Facebook ads to like typically a freelancer for something like this, and then manage the tasks that they have to perform, right? So create tasks. Same thing with cold calls. I'm going to build a sales development team. We'll have this many people on the team, et cetera, et cetera. One more thing about how these boxes are used. So like cold calls assigned to these people, and then I'll use it to build out what the processes are for the cold calling campaigns, right? So like whatever, if we have cold calling scripts, they fall under here. If we have, how many calls that you need to be measured, it falls under here. So this will help you structure, your. This is a high level way to structure like your who's it assigned to, what the tasks are, what the processes are, right? Every single one of these boxes, you should be able to articulate those three things. Uh, Cold emails, webinars, social media. I won't belabor the point of doing all of these things. The reason that I wanted to make that marketing co-op that I just talked to you about, though, is because when I looked at all of these boxes, I said, dang, that's a lot of work. And I'm going to go spend the money to do it regardless of whether anybody joins me or not. We got 3 signups already, by the way. So thank you to those 3 people. But, a lot of that work can be leveraged and the cost can be fractionalized because we can do the same thing all across the country. We're not doing drastically different things. Now, all of those activities in your marketing, ideally, if you've identified your target markets right and you've explained your value prop right, and you've connected with your customer maybe on core values, then they react to your marketing, they respond to your marketing, um, and then they respond, right? So you have a whole response flow. Now, I have 3 touch points. You may have a 4th, which could be like in-persons or walk-ins. I don't do them, so they're not on here. But if this is your thing, you may want to add walk-ins because you want to make sure you define an experience for walk-ins if you're doing walk-ins. Now, the 3 main touch points for me are email, phone, and website. And I'm going to tie this back to the strategy, right? First impressions are everything. First impressions are everything. So you need to take this box. This is like a little box on a piece of paper. You need to take this box and think about what does your first impression, what does your first engagement look like with your ideal customer, right? And tailor it for them. Tailor the entire experience for them, whether it's email, phone call, or website. I'm really, really big on templates, like messaging templates, phone templates, and um, like I send all my emails through Freshdesk. Freshdesk has, I probably have 50 templates in Freshdesk. I just had a training class on this. This is not going to be a rehash to that training class, but I use tons of templates to respond to the emails that are sent to me so that I have a consistent message that goes back to my customers, right? Same thing with phones. We have phone scripts for Viabiville that ensure that it's done in a consistent way. And then the website, the messaging is consistent. So make sure that you incorporate all the good thinking you do up here, down here. Now, one marketing activity that's a little bit down here is retargeting. So if you're not familiar with retargeting, make sure that you put your Google and Facebook pixels on your website. You can pay someone to make those retargeting ads for you, and when they visit, they'll be served ads based on visiting your site, and then that'll send them back to your website. You want to make that because you want to recapture anybody that was interested that didn't express interest at that time, or may be a little bit longer tail. So just create that cycle. Now, I send everything through a web form, whether you come through the website, phone, or email. This is really a new process I'm implementing, but I'm implementing it so that I have a consistent experience in terms of. Uh, so when I put it in the web form, it goes directly to Salesforce, but it also kicks out an autoresponder sequence for marketing emails, and that's going to help me contextualize, uh, again, my key value props and sell to the customer, right? So like when they fill it out, we're going to send them an email that says, hey, thanks for joining. This is who we are. This is why we're uniquely qualified to solve your problem, et cetera, et cetera. Then the next email is like, okay, this is how you get your job done. So I'm not just telling you, I'm showing you, right? why we're better. Because I know most screen printing companies are not doing that level of education to their customers through the flow. And then also you're creating more touch points with your customer. If you're familiar with like marketing response touch points, typically it takes 7 to 10 touches to create permanence with your customer. So your customer pretend or your prospect may not remember who you are until you talk to them 7 times. So you need to do this kind of stuff, right? That's why retargeting is important. Gets you in front of your customer, right? They have to see your ad 7 times for them to remember who that merch monster is. Now, once they do submit, you send them through the sales flow and the production management flow. Ideally, if you can close the sale. So if you notice here, these are numbered, right? The reason these are numbered and the reason why mapping is important is I've numbered these and then I've mapped them to parts of my process. So one is new quote, one is new quote, right? So this is my help desk. And in my help desk, if I'm in new quote, I know that I can map this back to here, but this again has all the processes listed out and assigned roles on who's responsible for this. So if I'm assigned a new quotes, I know I need to go to number one. And then if I'm working on new quote and I have a question, I don't know what to do, I can go into my Confluence, which I'm not going to show you. But Confluence is just an online help desk or online knowledge base. Sorry, it's an online knowledge base where I keep all the information about every single process. So I'm trying to make it as McDonaldized or as simple as possible so people don't get lost. You know, um, this is step one in sales account management, new quote capture. So step 1A is sending the quotes, but also cross selling, right? I think it's super important that you create a standardized process for cross selling in your um, in your sales process, right? Restaurants do it, and it helps them make money. Do you want fries with that? What would you like to drink with that? Right? Make sure that you're asking those suggestive questions. If you don't know how to ask those questions, you're not sure. Uh, like I said, I just did a whole class on sales intake, workflow management. All that's included in there. Following up on quotes, I have a standardized way of how we follow up on quotes. I have message templates. I'll just give you one, which is I have the breakup email and I've standardized the breakup email. Uh, I follow a 3 to 4 strikes you're out rule. If I email you, call you 3 to 4 times in a row, you don't respond to me, I will always assume that you're uninterested and I'll take you out of my list so I don't have to waste my time following up with people that are not interested. Now, I'll send them the breakup email and it works. So I'll say, hey, like I've hit you up 4 times. You didn't respond back. I'm not gonna bother following up with you anymore. If you're still interested, let me know. And people respond to that. And they're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm interested. I just haven't responded to you. So it works. Standardize as much of the process as you can. It'll make you a winner. And then closing deal processing order. So like when someone puts in their order, I have a set of processes to check their order to make sure that we have everything we need before we move forward with art proofs with trying to send it to production. If you don't do that, you're going to be missing information, right? So who's assigned to checking the orders? How is your process managed? I'll give you one example is that in Printavo, we have all these alert statuses for missing information in the sales order. So like, when you're doing sales, sometimes you cut corners to write them faster. This is a time where we fill that all in before we move forward. Um, for production management, this is the sales and marketing workflow. So I'm going to skip this, but you should have a set of processes defined for your production management process as well. Who's responsible for sending proofs? How do they send proofs, et cetera, et cetera. And then shipping the order to the customer and swag items, right? So like, I think this is again like your anything that the customer sees needs to roll back up to this, right? Who's your target market? What's your key value props? What's your core values? And how are you marketing them, right? You should still be marketing them after they complete the sale, right? So the first thing to do, from my opinion, when you ship your order, like branded boxes, branded materials, cross-selling in the box, right? Couple reasons. Okay, so I don't believe in brand new boxes with your logo on it. I just think it's inherently wasteful, both from a financial perspective. They're expensive, it's like $4 a box, and you have to throw all those boxes away. and now we're creating a problem for the environment, right? So, but what I've done is I just have box tape. I haven't made a video on this yet or anything, but I have branded box tape. Um, Branded box tape, branded label on the outside. We put catalogs, promo items in there, items that they're not buying ideally, right? So if they bought T-shirts, I'm putting a water bottle in there. Hey, we can do water bottles for you, right? Um, really trying to create permanence with that customer. So one, they have a promo item with them. I have this ThreadX bottle. Oh yeah, I have this ThreadX bottle. I have this ThreadX bottle, right? And I'm gonna put this back on me real quick. Um, I have this ThreadX bottle, and I kept this bottle with me. I have four of these because they no people didn't take them from the conference, but I have a whole bunch of these, and I've been running around with it. And guess who bought a ThreadX ticket this year? I did, right? Because I have this ThreadX thing looking me in the face every single day. So you want to create that kind of permanence with your customer. It works. Um, and I put the labels on the boxes, put the box tape on the boxes, because if the person that you're working with gets laid off, fired, forget, whatever, that's there forever, right? So no matter who comes behind them, they know exactly where they can get a reorder from. That's kind of what our materials say is if you need a reorder, call our phone number. Um, Anyways, let me put this back on the map. Okay. Uh, so um, cool. You wanna standardize the process for sending out swag materials, right? Again, like if you don't have a process, it doesn't get done or it doesn't get done right. You want to have a consistent way you do it. You also want to consistently request reviews and referrals, right? So um, I did have a process and we stopped following it. I'm not perfect. So, but I am working on implementing this week the Printavo Zap to do automated review requests. Um, so make sure that you have that, right? Some sort of mechanism to ask for people to leave your reviews. One, it'll be a breadcrumb in the internet for people to find you. And two, like, if you're asking for referrals, referrals are way stronger than your marketing message. So somebody telling somebody else, hey, Merch Monster is awesome. They did a great job, and then you have to encourage your customers to do that, but or maybe even incentivize them to do that. That'll go way far for you. Now this is going to tie back into why mapping stuff out like this is important. Like, I'm going to be honest, and my company, I feel like we do a really good job at a lot of things, but I don't think we're perfect. I don't think it's exactly where I want it to be at. I know where I want it to be at, but it's a constant, as you already know, probably, until you get there, it's a constant work in progress, right? Now, the way that these boxes also help is that I have this box as a reminder, right? I check this document all the time to know what I'm supposed to be working on, what I'm supposed to be building. I have this document as a reminder to, okay, I have everything from 1 to 8 on here is locked in, 1 to 7. Um, but I need to work on this, right? So the box is a reminder for me to work on it. What else? Um, Remarketing. So selling to an existing customer always easier than selling to a new customer. Cheaper, more effective, higher conversion rate. You need to focus on this. A lot of people don't do it, and this is where you make the money, right? And you can spend less dollars, get more results. Um, so one is check in emails. I wouldn't say I have a process, but I just every 3 months I send in an email. Send an email. It's the most basic email you'll ever see in your life. It says like, "Hey Mike, how you doing? Just wanted to check in with you, see if you have any projects coming up." That's it. You know what? You know what though? Most people never send an email to follow up. And if you've bought anything expensive, you probably remember a time where you bought this expensive thing and they didn't even check in on you. Shows that they didn't care, right? Direct mail, I'm trying to automate my outputs from, like, once they complete the order, I want to put them into a direct mail campaign. So then send them something, send them like uh, an incentive for them to refer a friend or something like that. But a series of direct mails, and then retargeting, right? So back to pixeling. just serving them ads. If we do these three things, and maybe you can add phone calls in here. Um, if you do these three things, you'll create the virtuous cycle, right? And that's getting your customers, existing customers, to request new orders, and then you kick them back into capture requirements, right? So then now you have this infinity cycle until either, whether they go out of business or they move or whatever, they decide to find someone cheaper. But you then create this virtuous cycle where you bring them back through the loop every single time, right? And that's the goal. That's really the goal. This stuff, this stuff is great. The marketing stuff is great. This is not the goal, right? This is expensive. I'm just gonna be honest. This is the expensive part. This part, creating the cycle, that's where you want to be at. So that's the walkthrough. I apologize for like screwing up this webinar today. The phone call before ran long and it put me out of my mind space. But I appreciate you guys watching this. Ask me any questions that you got in the chat or the questions. See if there aren't any. If you do have questions, please let me know. Um, and I think that's it. I'm gonna just get on my soapbox for a second. And that's really it, man. Like I said, now is the time to plan, to work on projects that you haven't been able to work on, and really like figure out how you're going to be proactive in this new job market. You know what I'm saying? Or not new job market, but this new economy. The new economy is, like I said, it's going to be much more difficult to acquire customers, to make the sale, right? People are going to be tighter with their money, and really need to be proactive about what you're doing and how you're going after it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm about to bounce, and I apologize for taking a little bit of time. Oh, Chad's typing. So Chad wants to know what KVPs stand for. So yeah, strategy is three parts in my opinion. You could put a whole bunch of other things up here, but strategies: target markets, key value propositions, or USPs, unique selling propositions, and core values. Those three things more or less encompass your strategy, right? Um, who are we talking to? Why are we uniquely qualified to talk to them? So that's your key value proposition or unique selling proposition. Like, what do you do differently than your competitors? What do you do better than them? Why should your target customer from your target market shop with you? Right? And put that back up. Why should your target customer from your target market shop with you? And then your core values also and then your core values also drive that. So like just the example that I gave earlier, Ryan at or not sorry, All Made um, is really really good at explaining what their core values are for their product, right? What they believe in and why they think their product's important. That then speaks to their target market, right? So it creates a connection. That's really your strategy here. And then all these three things then filter down into your marketing. You know, a strategy, you can do marketing, but it won't be good. Your marketing will be crappy, and you need to start at strategy. Got another question coming in. Okay, this is a question from Ryan. Ryan says, "What are the best ads to take out? Google, Facebook, or Instagram?" Um, so like I think that you should test them all and see what works best for you. Because everybody, back to the target market thing, everybody has a different type of customer that they're trying to go after, and some customers react better in different platforms. I will say that I think of the way that the ads work a little differently aside from retargeting. So, like, I would set up retargeting first, right? Because retargeting is the most basic thing. It's somebody came to your website, they decided that they were maybe interested in your product, and you want to remind them that they've seen you, right? That's easiest and cheapest. Retargeting ads are cheap. They're like really, really cheap. Um, then the second thing is Google or Facebook, right? Google is intent-based marketing. So these are two different things. Google is, I'm looking for a screen printer. I put screen printing in Google, right? And then I'm looking through lists of screen printers. That's okay. So that's one thing. That's intent. I really want to find a screen printer because have a job I need to do. Facebook is, I think, more like branding, right? Because Facebook has no intent associated with it. So yes, you may live in Oakland, California, right? I can define my parameters. So I want to find men that live in Oakland, California that be 25 and 40, right? That's what I think wants my product. But I don't know that I want the product or service yet. Maybe I do, maybe I don't, or I don't know the product exists. So then I'm going to put an ad out on Facebook for these customer uh, profiles, customer, customer profiles or whatever. And I'm going to serve the ad to people that look like this, right? And I think people that look like this are going to buy this type of thing. Or I'm going to serve ads to people that like custom ink. Could work, could not work, right? So two different ways. I personally like intent-based marketing. Google ads are expensive as whatever. So that's the downside to Google ads. Facebook ads are cheaper. I think they have less intent. So I don't think they convert as well for like things like screen printing sales. But I know people that have a lot of success with them that do like products that do set like packages and things like that. I know people that have success with that. Of the 10 marketing options that I listed, which ones have I found to be most and least effective? I'm going to throw this back onto the screen. Okay, so, well, hell, organic search is free. Let's start with that. Organic search is free. So I like organic search. And all you have to do for organic search is you have to come up with a list of keywords that you want to rank for and try and write your copy to those keywords, but still make it human. I am not an SEO person by any means, but when I wrote my website originally and when I've rewritten my website, I always come up with a list of keywords first, or I come up with a framework of my target market first and I try and write to that. Right now, I'm focusing more on target markets than I am on search optimization. Um, so, like my new website, which isn't up yet, uh, it's like trade show marketing, you know, large event marketing. Right. I'm trying to be really explicit about who I talk to in my target market. But you could also say I need to rank for screen printing embroidery DTG. Therefore, you need a screen printing page, an embroidery page, a DTG page. You need to have those keywords on that page. You need to have those keywords on your website. It's cheap. That's just sweat equity. Podcasts and webinars, pretty much the same thing. Running webinars and podcasts is dumb cheap, right? Borderline free. Um, and you can talk to your target market directly, right? For free. It just takes time. Now, I like cold emails. I like them because you can build lists and talk directly to target markets. Again, like there's a theme here, right? You can say I want to only engage with restaurants, right? I'm going to email 1,000 restaurants. Now, when I do that, I can then refine my target market to restaurants only, and I can make my key value propositions uh, and explain my core values in a way that's directly to restaurants through that one piece of marketing, right? And maybe like I've had really good success with restaurants, so then um, I'm talking directly to people that are in that profile. That's just an example, by the way. Um, and then like I'll use cold emails to warm up cold calls. So I don't really like cold calling per se, but if I know you've clicked on my email, I know you've read my email, I will then probably follow up with a cold call. Now, or like a lukewarm call is probably what I would call it because they already know who you are. And like that's one of the things I'm offering, really helping contract printers do over here. Just to tie this back to the stuff I got going on, is I'm helping contract printers get in touch with people that um, need their services, right? And then identifying who to call, so you're not boiling the ocean. How do you know someone opened your email? Well, they have like in the emails that get sent out, they have a pixel or they have a, I think it's like a little tiny image that's 1 pixel wide. And that when the image gets served, that's how they know essentially that um, the email is open, and the email programs have all these analytic tools in them. It's pretty standardized. Um, what else do I like? Social, I like. I don't know. I don't like. There are people that make money on social. I'm not gonna knock it. It's not where I focus, but um, I just keep my social pages updated. I think I look at it for me. It's more of a portfolio. But for I know people that are making money on Instagram and stuff. I've never liked the customers that have contacted me on Instagram, so I don't. I s- I stopped trying to sell on Instagram because I don't like the customers that it brings to me, right? So I found it to be a poor lead source for myself. I'm not getting my ideal B2B corporate marketer customer. I'm getting the dude that wants to start a clothing brand. And like I'm kind of phasing that out of my business. Events and trade shows, dumb expensive, but can get you in front of the right people. Sponsorships also stupid expensive, but can get you in front of the right people. I didn't talk about search ads. Search ads can be very expensive, but can get you in front of the target market faster. I would consider that to be a short-term strategy, like a rocket fuel strategy. So, like, I'll, I don't know. This was in one of my presentations for ISS. Um, I burned a whole bunch of money, got a whole bunch of sales, and I got rid of it, point blank. Right? Um, very, very expensive way to acquire customers. Very effective way to acquire customers, but may hurt your profitability. Not may, will. Direct mail. I'm on the fence on this one. Uh, like I think it's kind of old school, but it works. I consider this to be the last part of my strategy, not the first part. And this is really only really only using this to market back to either um, existing customers or people that I really know are a prospect. But consider that direct mail is going to cost you 55, 70 cents a piece or whatever versus an email which is basically free, right? So there you go. um, what email programs would I suggest? The most basic ones are MailChimp and Constant Contact is what I use. Yeah, there's a zillion of them. uh, but MailChimp and Constant Contact seem to be like some of the more popular ones. There's probably like 100 of them for sending uh, email blasts, and then like cold emails, or email programs. Like I know people are using Klaviyo, um, Prospect.io, stuff like that. Any other questions? Yeah, but if you guys don't have these systems in place, like I said, if you're like me, phones are pretty quiet. Now is a good time to just start take a map like this. Screen shares off. Now is a good time to take your map like this and just start filling in the blanks. Anywhere where you're weak at, just start fixing it. That's what the map is for. What Some are more lenient than others, and cold email. Yeah, so if you're gonna cold email, don't cold email through Constant Contact and Mailchimp. They'll ban you fast. Um, if you're gonna cold email, there are programs that are specifically for cold emailing, and the way that the cold email programs work is they take the email and then they send it through your email server. So, and they don't send them 300 at a time. They stagger them, right? So it's not illegal to send an email from a person to person whether I know you or not, right? So if I don't know you, I am allowed to send you emails even though I don't know you. That's a popular misconception. But the way that you do it is important, and so you can't just put it in Constant Contact. You have to send it through like a program that's going to use your mail server, and then you have to give them specific information. You have to have your address, and you have to have a way to opt out at any time, and then you have to opt them out if they ask you to. And same rules still apply, but it's not illegal. But you do want to send it somewhere else. Do you sell in your first email or wait for a reply? Never sell in your first email on a cold email campaign. That's a rule. So cold email campaigns are not to sell; they're to get people to respond back to you and find out if they're interested. So um, I'll just give you an example. They're really, really basic. I keep them really, really short. It's just like, hey, my name's Mike. I found you on the internet. I see that you have this kind of business. Um, I feel like I could help you maybe in this way, you know, and then some sort of like call to action, and not really call to action, but like try and get them to respond to you, however you want to do that. Like, do you have time? Blah blah blah. Right? You just want them to respond, and even if they don't, like most people, a lot of people won't respond. That's one thing that's important, I think. So you know, people will read the email, they won't respond. That's why you have to cold call, or that's why you have to warm call. That's why you have to look at your analytics, and you can say, okay, I sent out 50 emails today. These people looked at it. These people responded. So I'm gonna follow up with the people who responded. I'm also gonna follow up with all the people that looked at it, right? Because maybe they looked at it and they just were too busy to call you. So you need to put them together. Your results go up exponentially if you put them together. If you only email, you get this. If you call, you get this. Got a question for Greg. What's up, Greg? How do you respond to someone that says they already have someone printing for them? You can't sell to someone that doesn't want to buy. I don't know. I always take that as a rule. Can't sell to someone that doesn't want to buy. So don't waste your breath. But what you can do is you can say like, totally understand, I respect that, and I'm glad you have a good partner. And I know that sometimes either shops get busy or whatever. And they may not, if there's ever an opportunity to earn your business, let me know. That's what I would say, right? And that's basically that. Here's the materials. Hit me up if you have a problem. And then, if they hit you up, then you have a chance to be a hero. But I wouldn't try and sell too aggressively to someone that's set. Got another question coming from Martin. Oh, hey, that's cool. Martin says there's a program called BotSol that scrapes Google Maps by keyword for number and email. I'm gonna save that. Like I don't claim to know everything, so I learn something new every day. So thank you for that info. Cool. Any more questions from folks? Going once, going twice. All right. Thanks again for joining. Um, you know, use your time effectively. Go out there, figure out how you're going to attack your target markets, how you're going to make your business better in the coming future. Oh, do you cold contact on Monday or Fridays? I don't know. Usually the lists are so big that we just send them every single day. So just send, 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 send. Where are you getting said list? Well, that's one of Mike's secrets. But Martin just gave you a resource for maybe getting lists. That's a trade secret. More questions? Uh, yeah, so there's like a zillion theories about when to send emails. I think like whatever, as long as you're sending them, then you're like ahead of most people. Like there are better times and worse times to send emails, but whatever. Do you get access to the list by joining the marketing co-op? No, marketing co-op is literally just it's like I think it's still new-ish, but I'm gonna try and make like more evergreen, ongoing content for it. So upcoming seasonal marketing campaigns, put those together. Um, the and things like that, right? Like just really straightforward promos that you can plug into your email marketing program, your social media, and then send them. Um, so you know that that's what the marketing co-op is going to be. Really putting funds together to get copywriters and designers to make that. So you have really good looking content to send out on an ongoing basis, right? The the contract printer program is more access to lists, um, and so this program is is about access to lists. That's why it's a little bit more expensive. Um, so if you're a contract printer, you're looking for work, I definitely can get you in front of those people. That's what that one is. Yeah, Chad says I was told not to cold call on Mondays and Fridays, but that's true. Yeah, I mean like so like we'll talk about a couple examples real fast. Uh, if I was calling a restaurant, you have to tailor this by who you're talking to, back to audiences. So like if you're trying to cold call a restaurant, are you gonna cold call them at 12 o'clock? No, no, not in your life, right? If they're open for lunch, are you gonna cold call your restaurant at between 5 to 9? No, because they're gonna be too busy to talk to you, right? But I know the person in the restaurant is sitting on their butt waiting for their shift to start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Um, but don't call them. Don't call them when they're prepping. Call them when they're sitting around on their break with nothing to do. Yeah. So you have to be strategic about it based on who your like target customer is, right? Um, if you're targeting like CEOs, maybe you're cold emailing them at 6 in the morning because CEOs get up early, and nobody else is emailing them at 6 in the morning, right? Maybe you're cold calling your CEO at 7 in the morning, because your gatekeeper at 7 in the morning. By gatekeeper, I mean uh, their secretary um, may not be in the office yet at 7, but the CEO probably is. So you have to be strategic about who your audience is also. What's your average order size when getting orders through cold calling? I don't do a lot of cold calling. I do a lot of cold emailing and then follow up with warm call. Um, it can be everything. The last few times I've done cold email sales, I stopped at the end of last year and was gonna restart it, but got sidetracked. It was like it wasn't like huge. It was like they're little $1,000 orders, $800 orders. Um, but it's just but it's something. You're making like I look at it as like a strategy, like it's not just one thing, it's not just emails, it's not just webinars, whatever. It's let's put all these things together and then you get a cumulative effect, you know. Have I called cold calling through Instagram? No, because I hate Instagram customers and they annoy me. But if you find that you get good success from customers through Instagram, or like you like the people that hit you up through Instagram, then you should do it. But I've never gotten a good lead off of Instagram that I thought was great. That's just like maybe the ones that go from Instagram to my website, but the ones that DM me, it's like 20 sweatshirts with the relabel, with this, with that, you know. Um, so, anyways, that's my rant about Instagram sales. But I'm not everybody, so I like for me saying that I know that there's somebody out there that's killing it on Instagram and making hella money. So don't just take my personal experience. I would like I would try it anyways. You know what I'm saying? Like if you think that you can find your target market on Instagram and you can slide in their DMs and you're gonna say the right thing that's gonna make them respond to you and make a sale, do it. Like you have access to the biggest people in the world through DM, right? Like the most popping people with millions and millions of followers. You have access to huge clothing brands, everything, right? Um, so shit, it's worth a shot. Nothing nothing is ruled out until you try and it doesn't work. You know, that's what I'll tell you. Chad says some of his biggest orders are from cold emailing. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten like $3, $5, $7,000 orders off cold emailing. Sometimes they come back mad late too. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right, I really am out of here. Thank you for watching this. Thank you for sticking with it. Um, Apologies again for starting this thing late. I thought I clicked the button. I didn't click the button. So, story of my life. Anyways, have a good one out there. And oh, Ryan says thanks. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate you watching. Talk to you guys later.